everybody, and good Wednesday. We're midway through the week, and we're another day closer to some beautiful weather that we're all very deserving of. Yes, we're still holding out for the 50s and some sunshine. Temperatures have fallen, and they've ebbed off just a bit, but it's still way above par. And we're glad to talk about that tonight. Not so much the fact that we do have a little caution for you. I hate to use the word warning this evening, but some patchy freezing drizzle, freezing fog, and a few flakes tapering off from the west throughout the early evening hours have been a factor, and they're not even heavy enough to show up on radar images at this time. So keep that in mind. I don't see it being a big problem during the overnight. In fact, our last updated forecast says mostly cloudy conditions during the course of the evening and overnight, and makes no mention of any more precipitation. But we'll check in with the Weather Service in just a few moments and see what's on par and on tap, and holding out for what's going to be a nice weekend, at least the majority thereof. Sunday we'll start to see a bit of a change and maybe some more wet stuff, but we'll talk about that Saturday. Definitely the keeper in the forecast period, and no more Arctic air in sight at all after we get to the week's end, mind you. Headlines tonight will include an update on the Justice Center and what the status is there, what crews have been able to fix and dry up thus far, gas prices on a local, state, and national level, and a new title for State Representative John Short, among other headlines. Slick roads caused a minor bus accident in neighboring Breathitt County this morning. One of the few school districts, including Magoffin County and some others, which did have classes today. An ice-covered, graveled road was the scene of the accident, in which there were no injuries, but slick enough of a surface and hazardous enough of conditions to cause the bus to partially leave the roadway. In the Caney area of Breathitt County this morning, a bus driver was able to stop this bus before it went any further. He was also able to evacuate and get the kids off the bus safely. He then attempted to move the bus back into its original route, and it made the situation actually just a bit worse. They called for assistance and for another bus to take the kids on to school. No one was injured, and they carried on into class just as normal. The ride to school this morning for some students, including obviously these here in Breathitt County, may be similar to the one coming home from school tomorrow. Not much precipitation out there tonight, just mostly cloudy skies, but by late morning, early afternoon hours tomorrow, we could be in for a little hit of snow that could cause some early afternoon problems, possibly around the time that classes are getting out here in the viewing area. Before we get to local headlines, let's reflect a bit on gasoline prices this evening. To the delight of most all motorists, except for those who are traveling on diesel, you're not getting much relief there. That's another story in and of itself. But for tonight, as for gas prices, motorists across the United States are paying an average price at the pump of $2.13 a gallon. That's more than 40% lower than the peak of 2014 at $3.70 a gallon. That was back in April, near the end of the month last year. The national average continues to test lows not seen since May of 2009. And has now dropped a record 109 consecutive days for a total decline of $1.22 a gallon during this span. Today's price of fuel is 7 cents less than just a week ago, 45 cents than a month ago, and $1.18 less than a year ago. And barring any major increases, AAA says in the global price of crude oil, they expect the national average price for regular unleaded gasoline to remain below $3 a gallon in 2015. Motorists in 11 more states saw their average price at the pump drop below $2 a gallon over the past week, bringing the total number of states below that threshold to 18 out of 50. This number could rise to 25 by the end of the week given current trends. The average price at the pump is more than $2.50 a gallon in just 5 states and Washington, D.C. And this graph kind of simulates that particular trend. And the $2 a gallon mark, well, below it at least, has not been seen here in Sagersville. But perhaps not to the surprise of many in neighboring Johnson County, it was witnessed today. I'm not sure when the gas price officially dropped below $2 a gallon in Johnson County, but I can tell you it was there today. I also had a viewer call a couple of days ago, and they had purchased gas at about $1.98, $1.99 a gallon in Floyd County on that occasion. There you see Paintsville, the Marathon over there by Hutch Chevrolet and Hutch Chrysler, $1.95 and 9/10 earlier today. And like I said, diesel consumers not getting much of a break at the pump. I had a telephone conversation earlier today with the newly appointed chairman of the Tourism Development and Energy Committee, selected after serving as a member of the committee for 4 years and serving as a state representative for only 4 years in the 92nd District. I spoke with John Short about his capacity, how he'll be conducting the meetings for the committee, how he'll have some bearing and weight on the final decisions made in one of the most important committees in the state's legislature. And as member and, more importantly, chairman of the committee, he'll have direct oversight and some say-so in the Kentucky coal industry, natural gas industry as well, fish and wildlife, utility companies, hotel and restaurant regulations, and Kentucky's historic sites. He'll also receive testimony from experts in the coal industry and members of the Public Service Commission, which has regulatory oversight over the state's public utilities. As for Representative Short, he also serves on various other committees: the House Agriculture and Small Business Committee, the Economic Development Committee, Natural Resources and Environment Committee, Special Subcommittee on Energy, House Transportation Committee. He's a liaison on the House Budget Review Subcommittee on Transportation and a non-voting ex officio for the House Budget Review Subcommittee on Economic Development. It's my understanding the last person from Magoffin County or from the 92nd District as a whole to serve as a chairman on any committee, that goes back to 1972. Darvin Allen served as the chairman of the House Health and Welfare Committee. More headlines in a minute. Right now, announcements on tonight's community calendar brought to you by Magoffin Farm Bureau. Starting off with a happy 26th birthday wish, it says, Happy 26th birthday, Whitney Perkins, with a whole lot of love from all the girls at work. And you know where work is. Probably the only thing about work that you like might be the girls. I don't know. Nevertheless, they want to say happy 26th birthday to you. Happy 26th birthday, Whitney Perkins. And I'm not sure of this pup's name, but I do know the pet has been lost in the Elk Creek area. If you live in Magoffin County, around that area, or any of the surrounding areas, and you may have seen the animal, please call their owner, 349-5146, 349-5146. It's a lost pet in the Elk Creek area. And remember, if you are away from the TV, obviously you're going to be away from the TV if you ever see the animal. My point being, if you ever see an animal later that we've ran a report on, always give us a call. We'll get you in contact with the pet's owner. Our number is always listed in the phone directory, obviously on the internet, and hopefully ingrained in your mind after seeing it here every day for 16 years. 349-3699. Lost pet in Elk Creek. 349-5146 is the owner's number. A reminder, the Magoffin County High School dance team is taking chances. You can buy a chance to win 4 tickets to the UK-Georgia game on February the 3rd, 2 upper tickets, 2 lower tickets, compliments of C&R Ashland Office Supply. Let me say this, they are hosting the middle school cheerleading and dance, and I'm not for sure which one it is, tournament or competition this Saturday, and I'll get a little more detail specifics on it, but my point is you can come this Saturday to the high school and take chances to win, and then also see some wonderful entertainment, as this is a regional competition, I do believe. The Big Sandy Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program needs you. They're currently seeking volunteers who serve as certified ombudsman volunteers who are advocates for residents of nursing homes, personal care homes, and family care homes. And in addition to visiting those facilities on a regular basis, that you also will strive to provide information and resolve complaints on behalf of residents. There was a number there at the bottom of your screen. And there it is again, 1-800-737-2723, or you can contact Jamie Welch at Jaime.Welch at bigsandy.org. And a soup bean dinner. It's a fundraiser on behalf of the Sayersville Free Will Baptist Church this Friday, 10:30 till 2. A full meal, soup beans, kraut, wieners, potatoes, cornbread, and a dessert, just $7. Eat with them on Route 40 at the church. Carry out, or if you want it delivered, call 349-5740 tomorrow or the day of on Friday. Call the church at 349-5524. And another reminder, this Friday, the 16th, is the last day to register. It is totally free, but the last day to register for a seminar covering the basics of Alzheimer's disease at the UK Center for Excellence in Rural Health in Hazard. That's going to be on January the 22nd, that evening from 6:30 till 8. It is free. They would like you to register ahead of time. You can do so by calling 859-323-1331. And you can have your announcement heard and seen on the program, birthdays and anniversaries too, by simply mailing them, phoning them, faxing, emailing, Facebooking, or dropping them off here at the Your News Today studio on East Maple Street in Sayersville. Turning to funeral service announcements, 72-year-old John Roy Wireman of Gunlock passed away on the 12th, survived by son Travis Wireman and daughters Trina Delp, Josephine Wireman, and Elizabeth Wireman. Visitation is this evening and prior to services. They're set for tomorrow afternoon at 2. Visitation and services alike from the Magoffin County Funeral Home Chapel. Burial is going to follow services at the Arnett Cemetery in Royalton. Once again, in honor of 72-year-old John Roy Wireman of Gunlock. 71-year-old Donnie Monroe Howard of Barnett's Creek Road passed away on yesterday's date. He's survived by his wife, Nebraska Roark Howard, and sons Billy, Donnie Jr., Michael, and Brad Howard. Also daughters LaDonna Alsop and Ginger Howard. Visitation is going to be after 6 o'clock tomorrow evening and all day Friday, and then until services. They'll start Saturday afternoon at 2, all of which from the Magoffin County Funeral Home Chapel. Burial follows services at the Holbrook Cemetery on Cow Creek. It's been almost a week since thousands of gallons of water caused thousands and thousands upon thousands of dollars in damages. That number still being tallied in the Magoffin County Justice Center. A sprinkler head, actually two, which had froze and burst, caused a great deal of damage, to which the cleanup is still ongoing. It's definitely safe to say that it's a much different sight today in the Magoffin County Justice Center than it was Thursday morning when I took this video shortly after a sprinkler head, actually two, burst after being frozen during the overnight cold temperatures. You may recall it all began with a small drip of water that was noticed by maintenance personnel on that Thursday morning, a small drip from the ceiling that they quickly remedied with a trash can placed underneath. Unbeknownst to them, however, it was a sign of much worse things to come. A sprinkler head, and actually two, as I said, had frozen off and ultimately burst, and in a matter of moments cascaded a waterfall of thousands of gallons of water from the ceiling over the second story, and then, of course, making its way all the way down to the ground level, leaving behind what can only be presumed to be at least tens of thousands of dollars worth of damages, and maybe even much, much more, and in all likelihood it will be. While estimates have not been revealed as of yet, it's going to be basically a complete overhaul of one of the courtrooms, while the other is now operational after days of cleaning and drying. In an effort to evaluate the cleaning process thus far, and to evaluate where they stand as to how much longer and how much it's going to cost to see that all the remodeling and restoration efforts are done in a timely fashion and in the correct manner, there was a meeting held earlier today. In attendance was representatives from the AOC, or Administrative Office of the Courts, the Judge's Office, the Emergency Management Director, Judge Kim Childers, Judge Dennis Prater, and Circuit Clerk Tanya Ward, who tells me that they have learned that one courtroom may be weeks away and will be weeks away from being operational, while other services are starting to return back to normal.
And it looks like that it'll take 4 to 6 weeks before we have the district courtroom up and going. They're going to take proposals on Monday and go ahead and get that going. Danny Rhodes from AOC said they wanted to get people in as quickly as possible to do it right and get the building back up and going. Judge Childers is very concerned about mold, if there could be a mold issue, so that was being addressed. And she was also concerned that we did not have a maintenance supervisor in our building, and that's also going to be looked at.
And something else to come out of the repairs will be the repair to the security system, which has been out of order for quite some time. I'm not sure the exact time frame, but I know that they had voiced their concerns to the AOC on numerous occasions, especially Judge Childers even making personal calls to have all of the video surveillance and other items brought back up to 100% operation. And that will be done throughout all of these repairs that are being made. As far as the time frame, Ward says that the district courtroom will be down for at least 4 to 6 weeks, and the circuit courtroom they'll be able to use as soon as tomorrow.
In circuit court, it was primarily the floor was wet, and then that water seeped into the district courtroom. So everything in the district courtroom has to be replaced. The carpet, the furniture, the laminate on the wood is buckling. That all has to be redone. But in the circuit courtroom, it's primarily the carpet.
Now, since this is an emergency situation, these repairs are not going to have to be bid out. The county judge, I believe, will be given authority to go ahead and see that the appropriate companies are hired. And I've gone back to my gas footage here, my apologies, but that those companies are hired and the work gets underway as soon as possible. Now, there's still some activity in your Licking Valley RACC forecast. Not so much tonight. We started off 27 here this morning and hit 30 for daytime highs. A flake or two you might see outside tonight. I don't see it enough to cause any travel problems during the overnight. The radar images are completely clear and void of any precipitation. With a low of 24, mostly cloudy skies, and a light northwest wind becoming calm is all you should expect to see tonight. That's not the case for tomorrow. We've got a relatively quick-moving skiff, if you will, of snow coming in tomorrow possibly. And if you're watching this show, not on the website, but if you're watching it through one of our cable providers, well, keep in mind that for the viewing area, I'm going to say right around lunchtime is when we could expect to see some snow. And with a daytime high tomorrow expected of 39, well, ground temperatures are going to be slow to get above freezing, and they're not going to. So it could cause some problems tomorrow. It's not going to be a big accumulation, but it's going to be a light snow that's going to be a hit and miss. Well, not necessarily hit and miss, but hit and gone situation. So mid-afternoon, around lunchtime, 12 or so, and a little bit beyond, that's when you'll want to watch conditions. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow night at a low of 24. And Friday starts some change. It's going to be brief, but it's going to be nice. 42, mostly sunny on your Friday. Clear skies across the board day and night. Nighttime lows going to be back in the 20s. You can't have it all, at least not now. But you can Saturday. 52 degrees. We've ebbed off from yesterday's expected 54-degree high. We've fallen back to around 52 right now. Sunny skies, a low just above freezing, and partly cloudy skies late. Saturday's the day to get out and do anything that you haven't been able to get out and do for a while, because we could have some more Arctic air around the corner, and with it, more than just these little glancing blows of snow. We'll talk about that later. Sunday, the clouds roll in. Temperatures fall back to 45. The threat of showers does exist on your Sunday, and that will continue across the board. 30% during the day, waning to about 20% Sunday night. Into your Monday, which is Martin Luther King Day, by the way. A lot of folks will be off from work. Classes will be out. We'll see mostly sunny skies and a temperature right around, it looks as though we're going to call it right now, the 40-degree mark for Monday, with lows below freezing. The forecast all the way through Wednesday has temperatures 46 and sunny on Tuesday, 44, and some mix of some rain and snow on your Wednesday. After the forecast runs out, we could be in for another hit of that Arctic air that we oh so loved, and maybe even a little more precipitation rolled in with it this time around. But for now, we want to concentrate on Friday, a nice sunny day, well above freezing, and certainly Saturday. Thank you all for being a part of the program. That is, for now, my time. Tomorrow's Thursday, and we're closing in on that 15-day threshold in which the stalemate between magistrates and the judge executive may be passing. I'll find out more on that tomorrow, and you'll be the first to know, as well as about that and a whole lot of other news when we see you back here tomorrow night for more of Your News Today. Good night.